go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
If you're gonna talk about black history, at least know it. This is, at least know it, okay? When you hear people speak like this, you're like, that's black leadership?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution.
They canceled Kelly Osbourne for making that exact same point on The View. When Kelly Osbourne goes, Mr. Trump, who's gonna clean your toilets if all the Mexicans go home?
She really thought she was making a power move. But Jasmine Crockett just set herself and her entire party on fire. What started as typical political posturing spiraled into a jaw-dropping meltdown that no one saw coming. Instead of walking back her reckless words, she's now launching verbal grenades that are not just bizarre, they're borderline radioactive. At a recent rally, Crockett detonated her own reputation by diving headfirst into a racially charged tirade so off the rails, even her own supporters were left speechless. This wasn't bold, it was ballistic. And guess who wasn't having it? Tyrus. He went in hard, tearing through the nonsense and dragging her through every brutal truth she tried to ignore. No sugarcoating, no mercy. This is the political implosion you have to see to believe, and we're breaking it all down right now. Stick around because this chaos, it's only getting started.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
Let's get one thing straight. That laughter you hear, that's not support. That's disbelief. The crowd wasn't cheering. They were stunned. And honestly, who can blame them? The left is spiraling, and if they don't get their act together fast, this isn't just their disaster, it's about to be everyone's. With every new wave of Democrat leadership, the pattern gets more dangerous. They're abandoning real solutions in favor of outrage-fueled theatrics. Forget economic recovery, national security, or public safety. That's not the game anymore. The mission now, go viral, no matter how absurd the soundbite. And Jasmine Crockett? She just gave the internet a masterclass in political absurdity. She took the border crisis, yes, the illegal immigration crisis, and twisted it into some bizarre narrative about slavery. You heard that right. Actual policy crisis turned into a racial performance piece. It's not governance, it's not leadership, it's a circus, and she's in full clown makeup. And when this chaos hit the airwaves, Tyrus wasn't about to stay silent. He torched her on Gutfeld with a takedown so savage, you could hear jaws dropping through the screen. This wasn't just commentary, it was a total demolition. Stay locked in because we're breaking down every brutal second.
If you're gonna talk about black history, at least know it. This is, at least know it, okay? Like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now.
Let's be real. If Jasmine Crockett actually wanted real solutions, we'd already have them. But she doesn't, because solving the problem, that kills the script. No crisis means no finger pointing, no outrage bait, and no chance to play the race card on loop to guilt trip voters into compliance. That's the whole con. And it's nothing new. Barack Obama didn't just use the playbook, he authored it. He mastered the art of turning every problem into a personal redemption arc, even when he was the one helping create the chaos. It's political judo. Create the mess, then pose as the savior. And Joe Biden? He's reading straight from the same script, just sloppier. Take a hard look at the border disaster. Biden's open-door disaster policy didn't just backfire, it triggered one of the worst immigration collapses in modern history. And how does he respond? By blaming Congress and pretending his hands are tied. Classic move. It's the political equivalent of torching the house, then campaigning as the brave firefighter who shows up late. With no water. It's manipulative. It's calculated. And worst of all, it works. At least until the public starts waking up. But here's the twist. People are waking up. The illusion is cracking. The voters are starting to connect the dots. And once that happens, the whole charade starts to crumble. Stay with us, because this isn't just about one politician. It's about the unraveling of an entire political hustle.
When you hear people speak like this, you're like, that's black leadership? See?
They canceled Kelly Osbourne for making that exact same point on The View. When Kelly Osbourne goes, Mr. Trump, who's gonna clean your toilets if all the Mexicans go home? And now Kelly Osbourne doesn't have a job and was shamed by the left for just making a point that rich people need, people that aren't as rich to clean the toilets. They called her racist. But then this lady is now doing it, 6-7 years later?
Well, to be fair,
I think it was Sharon Osbourne.
Sharon Osbourne spoke in complete sentences.
Right.
No, it was it was her daughter.
Yeah,
Kelly
she spoke.
Osbourne.
Yeah, it was like on The View.
It was
or
Kelly
something.
Osbourne.
She spoke in a complete sentence that we were all like, oh damn,
Yeah.
Crockett, we have no clue what she said.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party of double standards, where hypocrisy isn't just tolerated, it's celebrated. When billionaires like George Soros or Bill Gates pour millions into far-left causes, the media calls it saving democracy. But the second someone like Elon Musk dares to get involved, with his wallet and his voice, the establishment hits the panic button. Suddenly, it's a crisis, a threat, a danger to the system. Why? Because he's not following their script. And by the way, I see you lurking. You've watched this far but haven't liked or subscribed yet? Come on, and if you're tired of the spin, this is your channel. Now let's talk about election skepticism, another golden example of their twisted rulebook. When Hillary Clinton whined about 2016, the media called her courageous. When Stacey Abrams flat out refused to concede in Georgia, she was crowned a resistance queen. But when conservatives dare to ask a single question about election integrity, suddenly it's treason. Threat to democracy, insurrection. Spare us the melodrama. It's a rigged narrative. And they don't even pretend to be fair anymore. Their rules only swing one way. And if you're not in the club, you're the villain. But guess what? People are speaking up. Jesse Watters just weighed in and called out the nonsense with surgical precision. And he didn't hold back. We're breaking it all down, and trust me, this mess is just getting started.
What do you think of the idea that we need illegals because the blacks aren't picking cotton anymore?
I don't like that idea, Judge, and I think it's pretty racist. Whether it's people that come here seasonally, I guess some jobs in agricultural, you have to have the people south of the border do it, but that's not really the issue. That's not the jobs they're taking. They're taking actually good blue-collar jobs. They didn't want them there, and it's driving down wages, and she should know better. Authenticity is obvious on the right because we do the work. We will sit for an hour or 3 on a podcast and let it rip. You can't hide on a 3-hour podcast. You can hide if you're a Democrat in the press because they'll just baby you and they won't ask you anything and they won't even debate you.
Just imagine the absolute chaos of a 3-hour Jasmine Crockett podcast. No, seriously, buckle up, because it would be a roller coaster with no brakes and no seatbelts. We've already seen the meltdown potential in her 5-minute interviews, and even those go completely off the rails. She'll start on one topic, then swerve into some unhinged tangent that leaves everyone wondering if they accidentally tuned into a fever dream. It's not insight, it's verbal whiplash. And what does the media do? Nothing. They turn a blind eye, throw on their noise-canceling headphones, and pretend she's making sense. Classic. Let's recap just a few of her greatest hits, shall we? She mocked Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a man paralyzed by a tragic accident, by calling him Governor Hot Wheels. She's casually threatened to smack Ted Cruz. And oh yeah, she openly encouraged violence toward Elon Musk and Tesla. Let that sink in. If a conservative said even one of those things, we'd be hit with DEFCON-level media panic. Wall-to-wall coverage, think pieces, emergency panels. The whole democracy is collapsing routine. But Crockett? Total silence. Because when the outrage doesn't serve the narrative, it just disappears. It's the textbook case of selective outrage. And the hypocrisy, it's not just obvious, it's loud.
But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park.
One thing's crystal clear. The Democrat Party is more fractured right now than a shattered mirror. And the cracks are only getting deeper. Cory Booker just gave a long-winded, headline-hungry speech that was supposed to be a moment. But within days, it vanished from the news cycle like it never even happened. No buzz, no impact, nothing. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders and AOC are out here playing wannabe rock stars, hitting the road like a duo on a farewell tour, desperately trying to reignite a base that's already tuning them out. It's not inspiring, it's exhausting. And then there's Tim Walz, who's out here chest-puffing and flexing like he's America's next action hero. Except most of his so-called accomplishments are either wildly exaggerated or just flat-out fantasy. You'd think after getting politically steamrolled, they'd regroup. Maybe try to connect with voters, maybe build some kind of actual unity. But nope. Instead, it's every man, woman, and socialist for themselves, racing to keep the party stuck in the ditch for the foreseeable future. Now I want to hear your take. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's blow this conversation wide open. And if you're tired of mainstream spin and want your crew getting the truth from a source that actually calls it straight, share this video. Appreciate you watching, and trust me, what's coming next? You won't want to miss it.